they can certainly have temporary disruption, but ultimately, the shipping companies do find a way. And there have been attacks on merchant sea vessels already, in the past 18 months. So that could happen, but I don't know to what extent that would help Russia or Turkey or Iran itself. So in some ways, it could be quite a self-sabotaging move to break up the shipping lanes in those straits. Well, I think to some extent, given that a lot of our Asia is energy dependent, they'd be concerned about oil prices, but they've got alternative supply from Australia and the US and Canada and so on, so they'd be reasonably calm about that.
Okay, well, yes, not so much of a reaction in Japanese stocks. And I think largely that could have been because there certainly has been a risk off over the past couple of months. I believe what we're thinking is that, or the thinking is that it's going to be a short conflict. The one big hit by the Americans will be effective, and then we'll get back to sort of business as usual, in which case there's no need for an immediate panicky type reaction.
Voted to close the Straits of Hormuz, which would be a backdoor, frankly, to an escalation between Iran and the United States. Because if the Iranians try to close these straits, the Americans will open it, and they will come in contact with the Iranian Navy and a lot more. So that's one kind of war. I would describe that, I guess, as regional war, because the Houthis would become involved, pro-Iranian militias in Iraq and Syria would become involved. The Iranians could pursue asymmetrical cyber terror attacks abroad against Israeli and American interests. And we'd witness what we had never seen before, which is a more comprehensive war involving the United States and Israel and Iran. The alternative is the Iranians, the Syrian leader decides that he can't afford to take on Israel and the U.S. And he looks for a middle ground response through proxies, which don't strike the U.S. directly with an Iranian hand, but still easily trace back to Tehran. And the Americans respond. And maybe you get a tit for tat for a day or so, but you avoid the more comprehensive version. That seems to me, more likely if you were calculating what the ultimate objective of the supreme leader is. But the one thing he wants to avoid is any interruption in the succession process, to pass on the revolution to his successor or successors. And he has to calibrate that response very carefully. I don't think we're on the cusp of regime change or even regime destabilization. But you never know in the event that you end up with a major conflict, what the upshot consequences should be.